Hey guys, today we're diving into the hardest kind of decision, the kind you don't make once, but every single day when no one's watching. When your world's falling apart, the court date didn't go your way, your friends stopped calling, and your kid still needs you to tie their shoes. Let's become the best single daddy we can be. I used to wake up angry, not just tired, not just overwhelmed. I mean angry at her, at the system, at how my life turned out. How I tried to do everything right and still ended up here, alone, holding the pieces, wondering what went wrong. And honestly, I like being angry. It gave me something to point at. She left me. They're punishing me for being a man. No one sees how hard I'm trying. There's something intoxicating about that story. Because as long as you're the victim, you don't have to take responsibility. You can sit in the pain, wear it like armor, and convince yourself that staying broken is justified. I did that for months. I went through the motions, packed lunches, showed up to parent-teacher conferences. But I was empty inside. I wasn't really there. I was just a guy checking boxes, waiting for someone to finally say, "You were right. You were wrong. You didn't deserve this." But no one ever did. Because no one's coming to rescue you, brother. And one night, standing in my hallway with a bottle in one hand and my daughter's backpack in the other, I looked in the mirror and finally said the words out loud. This isn't helping her. That was the moment. Right there in the silence. No dramatic music. No applause. Just me, exhausted and bitter, realizing I had a choice. I could keep being the victim of everything that hurt me. Or I could be a father. Not a part-time emotional ghost. Not a man who pretends the pain makes him noble. A father. One who shows up even when he's broken. One who loves louder than his circumstances. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to let go of the stories that keep you stuck and finally step into the role your child is silently praying you'll claim. It started on a Tuesday. The kind of Tuesday where everything feels heavier than it should. My daughter had a cough that wouldn't go away. I was late to work again. The house was a mess, and so was I. I remember yelling at the microwave. Yeah, the microwave. Because I burned oatmeal. That's how close to the edge I was. She came into the kitchen, dragging her blanket behind her. She looked at me, eyes still foggy from sleep, and said, "Are you mad at me?" I froze. God, no, not at you. Never at you. But I didn't say that. I just knelt down and hugged her. That hug felt like both a surrender and a beginning. Because in that moment, I realized something sharp and uncomfortable. I had made her feel like she was part of my storm. Not by words, but by being a man who was always halfway somewhere else. Half in past, half in my pain, half in some courtroom replaying what I should have said. And she was just trying to eat her cereal and feel safe. That night, after she fell asleep with one arm hanging off the bed and her favorite stuffed fox tucked under her chin, I sat in the hallway and broke down. No distractions. No social media. No music. Just me. And every lie I'd been carrying around like a backpack of bricks. You're not enough. You got screwed, man. This isn't your fault. Why should you change? But here's the truth I couldn't unsee. None of that helps your child. None of it changes what they need. They don't need a victim. They need a father who can take pain, confusion, even rage, and choose love anyway. So I did something I hadn't done in a long time. I opened her door. I sat on the edge of her bed, and I whispered, "I'm sorry I've been far away lately. I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere." She didn't wake up, but maybe part of her heard me. That was the first night I started doing what I now call small repairs. Because kids remember the tension. They feel the walls we build. But they also remember the repairs. The quiet hand on the back. The eye contact you hold just a little longer. The breakfast you cook just because it's Tuesday. I'm not perfect. I still lose it. I still have days where I feel bitter. Where I want someone, anyone, to tell me I'm doing okay. But every time I look at her, I remember. This is no longer about what I lost. It's about what I'm building now. And no matter how flawed I am, I'm still the man she calls Dad. That name doesn't belong to the strongest. It belongs to the one who shows up, even when it hurts. There's this illusion that floats around single fathers. The idea that you have to be either a hero or a wreck. That if you're not the picture-perfect dad who never raises his voice, never breaks down, never gets overwhelmed, then you're somehow failing. And if you do fall apart, well, then maybe you were never cut out for this in the first place. You know what that kind of thinking does? It keeps you stuck in one place, survival mode. You wake up, throw your armor on, and go to war with the day. Not to win, but just to get through it. You convince yourself that if you can just make it to bedtime, maybe that's enough. Maybe that counts. But here's the problem with living like a victim. It robs your child of the best parts of you. Because when you're in survival mode, you're not laughing with her, you're distracted. You're not guiding her, you're reacting. You're not loving her fully, you're rationing your energy like it's some scarce resource. And she can feel it, even if she never says a word. I used to think that feeling sorry for myself was a form of self-care. Like I deserved to sit in the pain because I'd been wronged. But that kind of mindset, it doesn't help anyone, not you, and especially not your kid. It makes you a spectator in your own life. You become the guy who's always saying, if only she hadn't left, if only the court had listened, if only I had more time, more money, more help. But none of that brings you closer to your child. It just keeps you in a loop, narrating your life instead of living it. The day I broke that loop, I did something simple. I stopped asking, why me? And I started asking, what now? What now? When she looks at me for reassurance I don't feel capable of giving. What now? When I feel like the least qualified person in the world to raise a confident, kind daughter. What now? When the loneliness bites a little deeper at night and I've got no one to vent to. And the answer always is the same. Show up anyway. Even if your hands are shaking. Even if your voice cracks. Even if you feel like a fraud. Even if all you did today was survive. Because in her eyes, survival is enough if it comes with love. She doesn't need to see you win. She just needs to see you try. So I challenge you. No, I dare you to drop the story that says you're a victim. You're not. You're a father. And that title means you have more power than you think. Power to repair. Power to protect. Power to rewrite the story, not for the world, but for her. Let that sink in for a second. You are the author of her earliest beliefs about men, about safety, about love. What kind of story do you want her to carry into the world? First step, forgive yourself for not being who you thought you'd be. You had plans, a picture in your head of what fatherhood would look like. A two-parent home, warm Sunday mornings, laughter that didn't echo in an empty apartment. And now you're wiping tears at midnight, folding tiny socks, and wondering if the silence is punishment or peace. But here's where you begin, right where you are. Not where you wanted to be. Not where others expect you to be. This is where you pick up the pieces, not to be who you were, but to become who she needs now. Second step, stop measuring yourself by what was taken from you. You didn't get to keep the house. You don't get every weekend. You weren't heard in court the way you wanted. Okay? You can fight battles forever and lose years doing it. Or you can build something different. Start small. Your tone when you say good morning. Your willingness to listen even when you're drained. That ridiculous voice you use when you read bedtime stories. That's where your power lives now. In the space between the big picture and the next 5 minutes. Own that space. Third step, reclaim your voice in your child's life. You might feel like an afterthought sometimes. Like a visitor in her world. Like her love is something you have to earn back over and over again. But that's a lie. Your place in her life isn't a prize, it's a right. And it's also a responsibility. So speak. Speak love. Speak apologies when needed. Speak confidence into her bones. Tell her she's brave. Tell her she's funny. Tell her you're proud, even on the messy days. Fourth step, redefine strength. It's not how much pain you can take in silence. It's not how little you cry or how often you bottle it up. Strength is brushing her hair when your hands are shaking. It's showing up to the recital even though her mom will be there. It's hugging her when you're empty and still finding the words. I love you, kiddo. I always will. Last step, choose love again and again, even when it's not returned right away. Because she won't always see your sacrifice. She won't always understand what it cost you to stay calm when you wanted to scream. She won't always say thank you. But that doesn't mean it's not working. Kids don't grow up remembering perfection. They remember presence. They remember how you made them feel, even when life was hard. Especially when life was hard. I don't know what your day looks like today. Maybe you're running on fumes. Maybe you've already failed 10 times before breakfast. Maybe you're still waiting for someone to show up and tell you it's going to be okay. So let me be the one to say it. You don't need to wait for permission to become the man your child needs. You don't need to be healed to start healing her. You don't need to have all the answers to hold her hand through the questions. You just need to decide. Today, I'm not a victim. Today, I am a father. And tomorrow, you wake up and choose it again. Your child doesn't need a perfect father. They need one who chooses to stay.